Alright everybody, how's it going today? Very icy and very snowy out here, so I have to watch my step. This is going to be my first ever YouTube video. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are gearheads and motor junkies and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to create a YouTube channel surrounding stuff of that topic. So I have something that I think would make for good future content. I have some work coming up that I need to do on this specific vehicle, and I think I might film it because I think it'll make for some good content. So without further ado, I'm going to be introducing you to my 1986 Chevy K10. All black. It's got a 350 under the hood. Four-wheel drive does work. It has some minor cosmetic problems, and it doesn't make a good winter driving vehicle. So I don't drive it much in weather like this because there's no heat and there's no defrost. But other than that, you know, it does start up and does run and drive. I've got some parts that I'm going to be ordering for it here soon. And I'm going to be getting it running and driving a lot better. That way, maybe by next winter, I can use it. I'll go ahead and pop the hood and we can take a peek under there, see what's going on. Now, I was told that this motor was a 350. I might be wrong. I was told by the guy I bought it from that the original motor was pulled and replaced, so the numbers on the engine block don't match what's on the sticker on the engine. So, I was told this was a 350. I had another Squarebody a long time that had a 305. But the oil dipstick, which is right here on my 305, was over here on the driver's side. It went down in between the manifold. And I know that was a 305 because I looked up the number and verified it. But on this engine, the dipstick is right here. And that's what I was told made it a 350. I'm not 100% sure. But that's what I was told when I bought it. You know, I've only had it for a year, so I'm still learning stuff about it. This engine does not run on a mechanical fuel pump. It has an inlet for a mechanical fuel pump on the engine, but it doesn't take one. There's one down there. I don't know if you can see it right there, but it doesn't lead to anything. There's no holes, there's no openings or anything. So there's no potential for a mechanical pump to be mounted on this engine. So what the previous owner has done is he's taken a high pressure Edelbrock external fuel pump and he has hooked it up to the frame underneath the truck on the passenger side, and he's ran it up to the carburetor. And we've got a Edelbrock 4-barrel on here that runs off of a external electric fuel pump. So only one side of the carburetor will adjust, the other side doesn't do anything, and it has absolutely no functional choke at all. So the only way to get it started on a cold day like this is to either pump it profusely for what seems like hours, or spray it with starting fluid, which I don't like doing to any engine. I know it's worse on your diesel engines, but I don't like doing it on any engine, excuse me, because it's very bad on the rings and it'll make the engine wear out faster. I don't know how old this engine is, so I don't want to take the chance of, you know, ruining it further or faster than it should be. So I don't want to take that chance. So I just pump it, and eventually it will spit and sputter, and eventually she'll get there. I refer to this truck as the Beast because it sounds like an absolute beast when it's running. When it won't start and it pisses me off, it's called Christine. I'm sure some of you may get that reference. If you don't, just look it up on YouTube. It's funny. It's from a very popular movie. But some of the things I need to do is going to be like, I need to replace the master cylinder and the brake booster, because this truck doesn't have very good brakes. They're very old, and the diaphragm and the vacuum brake booster is going bad. I already had to replace the wiper motor when I first got it because the windshield wipers didn't work. As you might be able to tell, the fluid level in the master cylinder is low, so if it sits for a while, it will drain down. It does have brakes. It doesn't have worthy enough brakes that I'd feel comfortable going on a long trip in it. It's got good enough brakes I can take it down to the gas station and back, or to the store. But that's about it. One of the other things I need to do to it is I've got some front suspension work I need to do. I just recently replaced the front shock absorbers, but it definitely needs brake works. It needs a wheel cylinder on this front driver's side front wheel, and I'm not sure about the ball joints. I haven't checked them on this side, but I've purchased ball joints upper and lower for both sides of the truck. I know for sure that the lower ball joint on the passenger side is in fact going out. It does have a lot of play, so that's going to need replaced. I'm going to go ahead and just replace all 4 ball joints. That way I don't have to come back later and do it. I am going to replace the rear shock absorbers, because as you can tell, these are, from what I can tell, the originals from 1986, and they don't really do much good no more. I've already had to replace the U-joint for the main drive shaft because it broke when I was going down the road, and the only way I could get it home was to pop it in 4-wheel and drive it home with the 4-wheel drive. Well, thank God the 4-wheel drive worked. But you know, it's got dual gas tanks on it. The passenger side gas tank is the only one that works. The driver's side gas tank, this one here, doesn't hold fuel. When I first bought this truck, I tried to put fuel in it, and it dumped all over the ground and left a pond in the gas station parking lot, so that wasn't a good situation. So I have to either put a new tank on it or check all the hoses and check the straps and make sure that everything's holding up good. And then the rear tail lights, when you hit the brake pedal, the brake lights will come on, and the turn signals, they do work. But when you pull the knob to have the headlights on, the running lights, the stationary lights, do not work. I have pulled the cover off and done some wiring on it, and I still can't get them to work. So I think there's a problem within the whole harness that I have to try to figure out. And then I can get that taken care of. But most of the work is going to be in here in the cab. Let me kick my boots off here. I got carpet in this truck, so I don't want to get it any more ruined than it is. Most of the work is going to be in the cab here. As you can see, the dashboard is so crusty underneath the tape I've provided that, you know, it's so cracked and broken that I put this layer on here. I know it's just duct tape, but I put it on here to make it look better than it was when I bought it. The camo tape was just me being a dork and just trying to make the truck look cooler. It didn't really need it, but I did it anyways. Oh, here's something you don't see very often. A back window that actually still has the lock. I've owned another one of these trucks and it didn't have that. And my dad also had another truck like this and his didn't have it. So I don't know what the deal is here, but I think those locks might be rare. I do have the original radio. The lights and everything do work on it, but I don't know if the radio works. I know it does have factory speakers in it, but I'm almost positive that those are blown out because I can't get any noise to happen through any speaker. So I'll have to look into the speakers and see if I can get this radio working. I don't know if I'm going to keep this radio. If I do get it working, I'm probably going to put an aftermarket stereo in it so I can have a good radio. But if I do get this working, I will put this up for sale, or I'll put a link in the description. And if anyone wants to buy this, if there's anyone out there that has an old truck like this and is looking for a stereo, if I can get this to work, you can contact me and I will get back to you about possibly selling this. I'll leave a description and a link in the bio. It'll bring you right to. I'm probably going to end up putting it on Facebook Marketplace or something in my local area. When I bought this truck, the blower motor did work. Then I took it to my buddy's house and we tried to fix the heater core, and turns out that he did more damage to it than it originally had. So now the blower motor that's in it doesn't work anymore, even though it worked when I bought the truck. So now I need to buy a new blower motor for it. The truck did come with a new heater core, and it is in the truck, but the hoses aren't hooked up because something went wrong and it started leaking and smoking out of the vents and everything when we got it hooked up. So I was like, I'll just deal with it later, but I'll get it there eventually. There's the switch for the dual tanks to switch it back and forth. And then really the only thing that I have left to do is, obviously you can see there that that's a typical problem for these old trucks. I don't think the gauge is bad. I think there's just the wire that runs the fuel gauge there. There's a wire underneath on one of the tanks that's disconnected or rusty and causing the gauge to sit like that. So I think, you know, in that situation, all I need to do is locate the wire that runs this and hook it back up to ground, and I should be able to get this to work. If not, I'll have to get a new sending unit for the tank or get a whole new gauge. But this gauge will go down instead of go up, so I know that it does function. So there's probably just a wire there that I need to replace or take a look at, but I'll get to that. When I first bought it, this worked for like a day, and then when I was driving it, it quit working. It just stopped working as I was moving down the road. So I checked it, and the speedo cable did in fact break. So I've got a new one of those on my list of parts to order when I go to order them. I'm buying all my parts off of Rock Auto, because I'm not going to buy them at my local like AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts or any local auto parts store, because I just can't afford their prices. All the other gauges work except for the temp gauge. The temp gauge does not work. I need to either get a new gauge or figure out what's making this not rise. The thermostat does open and close. I checked it, and I did test it in a bucket of hot water. This does work. This works, sorta. It depends. In the summertime, now I'll take suggestions in the comments, but depending on the day, this oil pressure gauge will run really low. Sometimes it'll go right above the first notch by the 0. It'll ride real low, like it's only got like 2 or 3 pounds of pressure. And then some days it'll ride where it is now, like 30 or above. So I don't know if like real low oil pressure is typical for a truck this old. But the truck I used to have ran like 35 pounds of pressure all the time. And this one's just, you know, got different opinions on that. So I'll look in the comments if you want to leave any suggestions on why this runs so low. When I start it here in a minute, it'll probably be running real low, right above 0. And I'll show that, and people can leave me suggestions on whether that's normal or not, because I don't know. But the only way to get this truck started is to pump it a lot. It will crank. I think the battery has enough juice in it. I only had it running yesterday, so I think the battery's got enough juice in it to get it running. So I'm just going to turn the key here to make sure. Oh, hold on, key's in my pocket. I'm going to go ahead and turn the key to make sure that the battery still has cranking power, and if it does, we'll go ahead and get this old girl fired up. Yep, so we'll go ahead and crank it. I'm going to wait till the buzzer turns off because that's annoying as hell. There we go. Oh yeah, we got plenty of battery, so I'm going to go ahead and pump it like 6 or 7 times. That may have been more, I don't know, I wasn't counting. So we'll go ahead and crank it now. Nothing yet, so we'll go ahead and pump it more. Pump, 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 pump. So we'll go ahead and crank it again. Oh, she's getting there. She's trying. See, the oil pressure gauge dropped back down. That's normal. It takes like maybe 4 or 5 tries to get this truck to idle. So it'll start up and die a lot before it'll get to idling. Keep on pumping. That's all you got to do. That's all you can do, really, with this thing. There's a choke cable I hooked up, but I had to unhook it because it was causing some issues. I'll explain that in a minute. Keep pumping, pump, 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 pump. Should only be 1 or 2 more times and we'll be good. All you can do is just pump, 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 pump the shit out of her. Pump the shit out of her. Some people might take that a different way. So if there's any young kids on here watching, I apologize for that reference I just made. Your discretion is advised, you know what I mean? There we go. It's getting there. Damn. There we go. So that's higher than it normally rides. Normally it'll be in between this first and second notch. It'll be riding in between that normally. So that's higher than it normally rides when it first starts. So I didn't know if it was just supposed to ride that slow, or that low, excuse me, or if the oil pump was just cold. Because it doesn't drive like there should be any problems with oil pump pressure, because it runs and drives perfectly fine. There's the brake light. Like I told you, there's some brake issues with this car. With this truck, excuse me. This is your typical problem. That don't stay up. It's got a spring or something missing. I had that with my other truck too. But this does work for a Charger, so that's pretty impressive. I know that the exhaust pipes and the whole exhaust system on this truck look terrible. I didn't put it on there like that. I didn't design this exhaust. I am planning on putting a whole new exhaust on it, straight piping it all the way back. But for right now, I guess it works. But it does look horrible, and it's just a crappy exhaust all around. So I am aware of that. This truck did have a whole AC system when I bought it, but my friend who tried to do the heater tore it off. I told him to remove it, but not to break it, and he obviously didn't listen, so he just broke it completely off. So, yeah, that's about all I've got to cover on this old 86 Squarebody today. Like I said, I'm going to be getting a whole bunch of new parts for it. And, once this freaking snow melts, so I can get to work. I don't have a garage. I just have my parking lot at my apartment building where I can work on it. So, once the snow melts, me and my other buddy, who's an actual good mechanic, are going to start working on it and making this beast roadworthy. And I will be bringing you all along on the journey so you can see it from start to finish. And I'll be taking tips and advice and suggestions in the comments, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that know a lot more than me. I'm just your basic backyard mechanic. I know just enough to keep my stuff running, and that's about it. So I'll be looking forward to taking y'all on the journey with me, and we'll see this truck from where it sits right now to where it will be in just a couple months. And you'll be here along the journey to see her as it goes. That's my other vehicle. That'll be another video series in a couple months. That's my 96 Blazer. That's a whole nother series of videos later on this year. But right now, my main focus with this channel is this 86 Chevy. So thank you all for watching. If you like this type of content, please hit the subscribe button and click the post notifications so you'll be notified anytime I make a new update video on this truck. Anytime you subscribe or like the video, it certainly does help, so I would appreciate that. Until next time, I'll catch you around, and I'll keep you updated on this old truck. Alright everybody, have a great day. Stay safe out there.